Sonic Universe issue 40. Eggman tells Orbot to go get his own robot while he stalls Snively with his robot, as Snively hasn't ordered the robot to crush him to death yet, because that makes sense in universe for his character to do. This is just like when Ixis let Battlelord introduce himself, and then introduced himself to him, instead of avoiding talking to free action, and crystallizing his entire battleship in the time that it was taking. Or crystallizing him. Eggman says he doesn't believe all of this was Snively's design, insulting him. After the Iron Queen fortunately tells him to not let Eggman fluster him instead of turning on Snively for running scared like I thought she would. Not to mention, I'm also wondering why Snively didn't just attack him with the robot if he was so mad at him. Like that insulting him could have horribly backfired on him. Eggman accuses them of not really being in love, and Snively yells that while it would have been far easier for him to just attack the United Federation, he saved her because he's struggling for someone that he loves. And he asks Eggman if he could ever understand that. He obviously doesn't. Again, it's so frustrating, it's never fully confirmed. Like, do they love each other? Does she love him? We'll never know. So it just feels like an annoying, dangling plot thread. Eggman tells Khan to go fight, and Orbot and Cubot argue over which killer robot to pick because Orbot knows that Eggman has a certain flair for the dramatic that he'll want them to cater to. They can't just pick any old robot because Eggman sucks as a villain. The Iron Queen takes control of Khan, saying that Eggman has saved her the trouble of removing his Power Ring crown, and tells him to destroy Eggman now that he's on her side. How is this a bad thing? Metal Sally gets sent after Khan, and Eggman tells her not to outright destroy him because he wants to control him too. Eggman hides behind some robots, telling them to protect them, and Snively makes Mecha destroy some of them as the Iron Queen says happily that she needs them to use later because her magic can't control broken robots. So why didn't she just immediately take control of all of those robots right away and use them to kill Eggman? Her losing against him is gonna feel so forced when she can literally take control of anything with electricity that he throws at her. And there's never been a single time when Eggman has relied on something with, like, robotic that doesn't have electricity in it. Snively tells her how he found the mecha. He inventoried what the Iron King already had in stock of what she stole, and took it from the Iron Fortress once he arrived. So am I supposed to just assume that the Iron Queen used to have this mecha? Why didn't she attack the Nanite City with it then? Orbot and Cubot bring Eggman's robot chooser to him as he runs up to them perfectly fine. Like, this is a smart solution for them, but they should have done this earlier. And it gets into a mecha like the Death Egg robot of Sonic 2 because fuck originality. The Iron Queen lampshades that he's brought his own too, because every circuit in that robot is hers to control. Then out of complete nowhere, Eggman reveals in a Deus Ex Machina that the robot is immune to her magic, because it's made from ceramics, plastics, which, you know, a robot can totally run perfectly fine in. And is run on precision-aligned tension cords. That means that it's immune to her magic because, I guess it doesn't have any electricity in it. He just pulls stuff with his super strength, apparently, and it works like a puppet. Okay, this would have felt better if we were already told multiple times that the robot was like this, and he had robots like this a while ago, instead of it coming out of nowhere for a plot twist, as if he just thought of it just now for this issue at the last second, and becoming a Deus Ex Machina for Eggman as a result. Now it feels like he's going to win because of random bullshit, because he's the main villain of the franchise. He's the main villain of the games. Of course he has to win. It's creative at least, but it would have been much more creative for the Iron Queen to win. Snively fights with his own mecha, and the Iron Queen says that she can't control Khan at this range and fight for him. Why not? Hasn't she been using her magic for decades? If she can't control Khan at this range, how is she expecting to continue controlling any of the Legionnaires after they went more than 10 feet away from her? Eggman locks the two mechas together, and Snively complains that he's got the cockpit blocked shut. How did he do that? How did he get this far? Eggman tells Orbot, who's flying the Eggmobile, to get out of the Iron Queen's range before she uses her magic on him, which only makes me angry that she didn't think to do that immediately and win. I mean, to be fair, it was just Orbot. I mean, what could she do with them? Would he suddenly have missiles that he had in him? Eggman fiddles around with hacking. Metal Sally grabs Khan from behind, and Eggman takes control and has the ancient mecha destroyed really easily, leaving Snively and the Queen defeated. Khan arbitrarily gets brought back to normal because I guess the Iron Queen falling unconscious magically undoes the spell, but then I'd have to wonder how she expected to keep Nicole or anybody controlled when she can undo everything the minute she goes to sleep and gets freed of her. Khan is mockingly told that only Eggman can repair the love of his life, and since Eggman's had a long day, he lets Khan have the villagers back, saying that he'll terrorize them another day, and he'll want to do something about those fires too. Khan threatens him, and I can only growl in resentment in my head because I know that he's never going to be allowed to actually carry out his threat. And we're just being presented with another obvious choice for someone to level Eggman's Death Egg and rescue Sally, who won't be used because they want to drag the story arc out. The Iron Queen wakes up in a Legion base in the United Federation in front of Eggman. So I guess the United Federation was closer to the Dragon Kingdom, so he brought her there because it was faster. Eggman says he could have avoided this whole mess from the start, and when the Iron Queen says to just finish her off and be done with it, Eggman arbitrarily doesn't do the sadistic thing, and says that if he had believed in her romance with Snively all along, he would have kept them happily at bay while getting his work done, and normally he tried to deny them both to get his way, but he's going to try a different tactic this time. This made me think that there was going to be good writing. He lets Snively and her be together, probably because he wants to show Snively that the relationship won't work, since the Iron Queen gets way too impatient at any problems in her plan, and furiously blames him for them. I'm really happy with the turn of events. The two hug each other as Eggman says that he's putting them both in charge of this Legion chapter, and they'll be in charge of the Badniks, repurposed gun tech, and legionized Egg Paladins. I'd love this a lot more if I had any faith that it would be allowed to stick instead of Snively being forced to return to his Sad AM place of being alone and working directly under Eggman, because that's how it was in Sad AM, and nostalgia baiting is great. Eggman tells the Grandmaster in front of him that he's been demoted and leaves. The Iron Queen says happily that she can renew her technomancy cult in the Federation, even though she hasn't met any other technomages here, and will never see any other ones, but whatever. And she'll have newer machinery, and a whole strike of, as she says, cyborg manly men at her disposal, all prone to her magic. So is their relationship going to end because she cheats on him with one of her guys? Eggman says that a lot of good things have happened for him today, pointing out that now he knows the hope it's with the United Federation and can target her, because somehow he didn't know she was there all along. I guess it was a really good, well-kept secret. As Snively lies on the floor, trapped, looking unhappy, Eggman says that thanks to the infiltrator copies he made of himself, which he didn't... I was under the impression that all of them were destroyed because all of them blew up, since every single one we saw blew up. Thanks to that, Regina thinks that he's at her side, and she'll be quite content with an obedient him, so she won't figure it out. They really didn't fucking have to make this plot twist. They really didn't. Oh no, we have to have it be just like Sad AM. Let's make things as unoriginal as possible, instead of letting him be with the Iron Queen. That's great writing. He seems to mistake wrapping up plot threads as getting rid of any plot point that makes the comic stand out as unique. My point on that has been proven constantly, with stuff like Fiona and Tommy being gotten rid of from the Freedom Fighters because they weren't the Sad AM Freedom Fighters, and like Mecha being killed off. But this is the most arbitrary time of all. Eggman could have just let them be together, no problem, if they wanted to write Snively out of the comic, since, newsflash, he doesn't actually show up again until the reboot. And they could have had a plan where he'd ruin their relationship or watch it ruin itself. But no! Diabolus Ex Machina, go. There was no reason that, I thought that all of the Infiltrator copies were completely destroyed. I thought they all self-destructed. How, did he get his DNA when he was kidnapped and make one himself? I guess he did, but off-screen? This feels so forced. I mean, I guess it would make sense for him to do, but how... The Infiltrator technology still exists? This issue is by Ian Flynn, and that ending just put a huge sour note on the whole story arc. It's bad enough that Eggman randomly had a robot that can't be controlled by Deus Ex Machina and won way too easily against someone who can control any robot he throws at her. How did he even get the mechas locked together anyways? How did he have those inventions like the Omni whatever just at hand out of nowhere? He somehow wins. Khan makes a threat against Eggman make me absolutely hate how he'll never even be allowed to try to carry it out, even though him being on the Death Egg would have been cool. And worst of all, that ending. I don't care that he used a Chekhov's gun. I don't care that Snively's evil and deserves whatever happens to him. There's no reason that Flynn couldn't have let Snively be happy with Regina, and let the relationship end naturally. None whatsoever. Would any fan have complained? No. If he's so sadistic, why didn't he just have Regina and Snively tortured for the rest of their lives in a dungeon instead? The writer who's worshipped for fan service and stuff should have known better than this, but he also started the end of the Freedom Fighters saga, which I'm sure the fans hated even more. So this is just another symptom of him running the comic into the ground. The issues as a whole are still fun to read, but the sloppy writing shows. It makes me wonder why he's thought of so much better than the other writers, when almost every new concept he introduces is forced. I can barely think of one that I liked aside from Nicole with the Nanite City.